as Adam's slides will be sent to you in a day or so. Okay, go ahead, Adam.
Sounds good. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you everyone for, I guess, joining in today. So one question I'd love that you could answer it in the chat, please, is a poll. It's on the right side. Can everyone see that, or not sure? Mm-hmm. Okay, great, thanks. So which of these overarching guidelines are most important for you when giving feedback? And then just complete the sentence. You can put a 1, 2, or a 3. As soon as you're done with that, I put a link for step number 2 to install Bitly, which is the app that I'm going to be talking about in Google Chrome, and then open a Google Doc on your computer. And not required, but it might be nice if, as I'm going through this, just for you to follow along. Okay, so I'm seeing a mixture of 2s and 3s. Well, you know, you always gotta, sometimes people are like, pick a favorite. You gotta just pick a favorite. Sorry, Lisa. And thank you, appreciate it. They're all, I mean, the answer is, of course, they're all important, right? But you have to pick the most important. Would anyone care to defend their answer?
You can use the participant window and raise your blue hand.
I'm definitely taking tips from Barbara, by the way, on how to host a meeting, facilitate.
Come on, you guys.
I'm going to be the teacher, give some wait time.
Here we go, Jen.
All right, well, is that working? I kind of felt like 3 rolled 1 and 2 a little bit together. So that's why I chose it, because I feel like it needs to be something that the kids can use right away, but that gets them towards their end goal of completing the assignment.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you for sharing. Does anybody have a counter to that or something to add?
You can use the participant window and raise the blue hand. Rachel.
Hi. I would say, I mean, I was deliberating between all of them also, but in the end I chose 3 because I think that if the other 2 weren't there at all, then I would have to pick 3 above all. Something could be aligned rather with core outcomes, but it still doesn't help the student. It could be targeted so that I'm giving feedback efficiently, but how do I know that the student is really receiving it and is doing anything with it? So to me, I guess above all, the 3rd one jumped out as most important.
Right. So I'm hearing that's like a very student-centered answer. So probably why no one chose 1, because 1 isn't really like the least student-centered. Of course, we have core outcomes with students in mind. But in terms of if we're giving feedback, we really want to make sure that they can integrate it. And it's also helpful for our own sanity that we can do it efficiently. So those were some of my challenges. So there were a few guiding principles when I was coming up with a way to give feedback to students during this distance learning setting. And we're going to talk about that first. I'll talk about some of the challenges, and I'll introduce it, go over some key features. Just so you know, the slide deck that I have is longer than what we could talk about in 20 minutes, but I wanted to make sure you had all the information. So in terms of the administration's guidelines, they wanted to make sure everything was targeted. So that was one thing, so we can give feedback efficiently. That was aligned with the core outcomes, and guess what? That was actionable. So that was sort of the constraints, and this is kind of what led me to do some innovative thinking around how to go about this. So my challenges, a lot of it came from using Canvas, and I'm not sure who uses that learning management system here. If you do, just if you want to give me a thumbs up on the screen, that'd be great. And if you don't, that's okay. I won't hold it against you. You're probably in a better place if you don't use Canvas. So, okay, cool.
You can
So,
also, in the participant window, there's a row of colored buttons. There's
yes.
a green with a check on it that says yes. If you're using Canvas, could you click the yes?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't use Canvas, click the no.
And then while everyone's doing that, I'll just go through this briefly. So the challenges I ran into Canvas was that students were turning in work. I'd give them comments on the work, but then they'd have to go back to their document, so the original one, to make changes, and they really wouldn't know where I was asking them to do things. I mean, that's just a few of the issues I was having. And it was taking me 3 to 5 minutes per student to end up giving them feedback that they might not have been able to use at the end of the day. So e-comments was introduced to me from another colleague, and that's kind of where I put a lot of my time in. And I'm going to definitely spend some time showing you what this app can do. It definitely met my criteria for success in terms of having targeted, actionable, efficient feedback that was aligned with core outcomes. So basically, it's a floating widget. It opens up over a Google Doc or a Google Slideshow presentation. So that's pretty cool about it. It's very customizable. You can add in, so all of the comments there are going to be canned responses that you can come up with in advance if you'd like to, or you can come up with things on the fly. But what's great about it is that it's completely reusable. You can sort them, you can organize them, categorize them, you can attach videos to them, links, pictures, voice comments. It's really robust. So this is a layout of the screen. So you select a comment on the right. Those are everything in the little blue boxes. And when you do that, after you've highlighted some piece of the student's document that they've shared with you, you have to make sure that you do have comment rights. But as soon as you click on that blue box, it drops it there as a comment, and the student gets notified by email that you left a comment for them on the document. I mentioned how it meets those 3 guidelines that I was sort of tasked with figuring out how to meet. But I'm just going to skip this. And it works for students. At the end of the school year, I had an anonymous survey. I asked them a lot about this new way of that was giving feedback, and it was this overwhelming positive. So they found it very effective and very useful. And at the end of the day, even though it worked for me, it was even better to see that it worked for them. So let's go through some of the basics here. Now, the slideshow has all the steps on how to use the app, but I thought it would be a lot more useful if I actually showed it to you live. So I have this document here. And Barbara, can you see the document?
Yes.
Thank you. So when you install the extension in Chrome, it comes up as this little EC icon on the top right where your extensions are. You click on it, you turn it on, and it pops up. You're able to move this. It's a floating window. And as you can see, I already have some things in there aligned with the outcomes that we use. And by no means, this is not something I came up with the first time I've used it, but I've built this over time. When it starts you off, though, I'm not sure if anyone here is English, world course, history teacher, anything like that. It does start you off with some great preloaded comments for targeting writing grammar mechanics. And I do use these from time to time. So I want to go back to mine, though, because I'm proud of all the work I put into it. One of the, so when you click on one of these blue labels, you can see already what happens. It just dropped a comment in the student's document. And so tells them exactly what to do and where to do it. I'm going to just delete this though, so she doesn't come back and see that she has work to do over the summer. So that's basically how easy it is. You just literally click on something, but you probably want to know how to actually create a comment. So if you click on this plus button here, you set a title for it. And then in this section, you add your comments. So so here's where you put a description of what you want the student to do, and then you can save it. So notice though, there's also other features. You can decide to do a, you can also store an audio comment and drop that there for them, which is kind of nice. You can also record a video for them. As soon as I saw what happened when I did that. And then you can also do a screencast, kind of like what we're doing now. So for folks who are using Loom, that's actually a nice, really shortcut way to do a screencast for a student that you can reuse on comments. So that's the basics features. Now, something that this is like, I guess, next level. If you right click on the category, that's where you can export it. If you want to use it on another account, you can hide it. And this is something I love. You can sort it manually by most used or A to Z. And then of course you can also move the categories up or down with the arrows here. So I can move this down if I want to reorganize it that way. But those are kind of like the sweeping features of this app. And I'm just opening it up to questions now. I can talk more about things, but those are really the main takeaways I want to make sure I shared with everyone. And everything I talked about is in this slideshow deck.
Adam, I want to make sure I understood what you said, which is the question is that the panels with the little blue labels in them.
Yes.
Can you make that bigger so we can actually see what some of the labels are? Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
So these are the labels I came up with. So I have my own system. So ours means something they have to revise. Plus is something that's great about it, that they're doing well with.
So could you open one of those so that we could see the comment that comes up?
Absolutely. So say I just highlight this little piece of text here. I click on the blue comment and it pops up on the side.
Okay, and the comment, you've already preloaded that comment.
That's correct.
Okay.
You can make comments at any time. If you have this open, you can do it whenever. So you don't have to do it in a spreadsheet and then import them. You don't have to do anything like that.
And can you edit the comment? Because the one that you've preloaded the ones that are represented by those little blue labels, right?
Yeah, so if I want to change this comment, I can do it here by right-clicking.
Okay.
So I can change the comment, which I've done many of times because it's just like, oh no, I think I can make these, this feedback clearer. So I've definitely had a number of times doing that.
But once you do it, is that?
Claire, I saw you talking. I just didn't hear you.
Sorry, I was just letting you and Barbara know that I think there are a bunch of questions that have built up in the chat.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay, let me see.
You're looking for blue hands.
I was looking for blue hands. Oh yes, somebody's, we've zoomed the screen in, that's good.
Yes, Ellen, yes. You can edit these. So down below with the ones for writing, you can edit all of those. So same process, right click, edit. Notice there's a setting to restore the defaults in case you want to go back to that. And same thing, just by right clicking, you can change the comments that come preloaded.
And once you edit the comment that like you just did, does that edit just for that one instance that you've used it, or does it edit does it save it in the comment in the comment bank?
It's permanent.
It's permanent, okay, until you change it again.
Yeah.
And a question, does the student get an email every time you put a comment in, or at the end, once you have finished commenting on the whole paper?
Every time you leave a comment, but what I've noticed with Google in terms of their Gmail, it doesn't send a separate email. It'll actually combine all your comments for you. I've noticed that. So if you leave a bunch of comments, I don't know what the time lag is. Like, I don't know if I put one today and then I put one an hour from now, if it'll put them together. But I know when I've left several comments, they do come out as like a bank of comments that the student will get in one email.
And is there a word limit in the comments that you enter? Is there a word limit?
I haven't run into that yet. I haven't tried. And I also haven't tried typing in a different language. It's a great question, though. I can, would that be like a separate keyboard? Like, that's something I have no experience with.
And Seth asked, did you do video comments?
So the video comments were a newer. I have done video comments, but I ended up just reporting them elsewhere and giving the link. So I haven't tried that feature on this. So I ended up just linking it. I was using Loom a lot at the time, so I was just recording it on Loom and then just giving them that link.
And someone asked if this is for Google Docs only?
Google Docs and Google Slides.
Okay.
Which was amazing to use it for Google Slides because we did a multi-week project. And so we were able to have we just kept going back to the same document. Each new slide was like something for us to comment on. About the video comments and the audio comments, what I do know though is it does save them in Google Drive.
I had a question about, is there a way, either in the app or something that you had to develop, to kind of communicate a hierarchy of revisions to students? Like if you say capitalization in one section, but also add models in another, it's actually much more important to add models, right? Or much more sensitive to their grade. So is that something that you found students understood intuitively, or you could color code it, or you had to kind of talk them through how to interpret these comments?
I kind of didn't run into that issue with them at all. So and when you say hierarchy, are you saying like things that are more important to do than others?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we definitely didn't have that conversation. For me, it was just like everything I put there was important, so you better do it.
So when you set this up, did you start by preloading? I know a lot of these comments are already, preset, and then you add your own custom ones. But did you do that first, or did you start by working with a student document and then create them as needed?
I did both. So since this was towards the end of the year, there was definitely comments that I had used in the past, specifically in Canvas, that I was able to pull into here for scientific explanations and all the other previous outcomes that we had talked about earlier in the course. And then I did things on the fly as well.
And is this embedded in Google Classroom, or is it an extension? What's the how do you get to e-comments?
So it's just an extension for Google Chrome. So it just lives in Google Chrome. Students don't need to have anything installed on their computer because it's just to help you leave comments. So there's nothing special about them in that way. When it doesn't insert a video, it's going to give them the link to the video. It's not going to actually put the video there.
I see. Boy, this is a time saver, that's for sure.
Yeah, 90 seconds. I mean, it cut my time in half. I was really able to like move through things, especially as I got things loaded and with the sorting feature that came later.
Any other questions? It's now 2:51. Any questions from anybody, comments, how you might use this other than commenting and grading, giving feedback? What's your favorite thing about it, Adam? So many things.
I guess just seeing the students respond to it so well and immediately. Like it was just a night and day shift once I kind of figured it out.
Okay. Claire, Claire says, I just tried and it works. What works?
So if you use, I guess you said Moodle or Schoology or something, but like in Google Classroom, sometimes if a student has submitted a document to Google Classroom and you go to open it, you're not actually in Google Docs, you're still in Google Classroom looking at the document. But this same system works without you having to open it separately. You can be in Classroom. Just right here.
Awesome. Okay, any last comments, questions, feedback?
Definitely feedback, suggestions for how to use it.
And if not, I'm going to say thank you to Adam. This was really awesome. I hope I imagine everybody on this, in this little seminar will be using it. Make sure that you